As promised, we got another Feh Channel for this month, and it pretty much was only about showcasing the new Choose Your Legends 5 units. Today I'll just be giving my first impressions of what was shown. We basically saw everyone's stats in full kits, but we start to find out some things like little super boons and skill inheritance restrictions. Those will come with the update, which should be out today, so I'll be sure to talk about those and these units in more detail in tomorrow's banners breakdown video. We're not going to go that in depth today, I just want to share my excitement. First off, we have the second place Women's Division winner, Brave Eirika. Not only has Eirika taken Noah's Gleipnir, but this time she's stolen Ephraim's lance and outfit. The twins sort of got fancier, more detailed outfits in their base forms for Feh. Dual Ephraim is more accurate to Ephraim's outfit in Sacred Stones, and Brave Eirika is going to follow that same trend. I think this is the first time WADA has drawn Eirika for heroes, and boy does she not disappoint. I do like the little knight faceplate thing Eirika's wearing, that's very cute. Now, Brave Eirika will be a Lance Cavalier. We saw her stats, and assuming nothing changes, Brave Eirika is going to be a very offensive Lance Cav, super fast, and pretty dang high attack as well. Her weapon is going to be the Binding Regan Leaf, and it does keep its dual armor and cav effectiveness. This time, Regan Leaf will also excite specials, grant a general +5 stat boost, grant 30% damage reduction on the enemy's first attacks, and then also provide the offensive portion of Null Follow-Up when initiating. Good lord, this is a very solid weapon all around. Again, we have another unit who doesn't need the new Flow Refresh skill because it's already built into the weapon, and that means Brave Eirika will have a pretty good player phase potential. She gets a ton of stats, she gets free damage against armor and cavalry units, and even has damage reduction too. On top of this, she exploits specials, which immediately signals Gale Force usage, and even though she can't run Flashing Blade, Brave Eirika's rocking a very solid 40 base attack for Heavy Blade. Now, normally the second place CYL winners only get a unique weapon, but not this year. Second place Brave units also got an extra unique skill, and for Eirika that is the Moonlight Bangle B skill. This is basic Legend of Eirika's Lunar Brace 2.0. It grants Kanto 2, it has anti-guard, and then when Eirika triggers her special, she tacks on extra damage equal to a percentage of the foe's defense stat. Lunar Brace was an extra 50% of the foe's defense, but Moonlight Bangle grants a changing amount based on the max special cooldown value of whatever Eirika is running. She has Luna and her base kit, which is a 3 cooldown special. That would be 3 times 10, which is 30%, and then you add 20 to that. That would get you 50%, aka another Luna proc worth of damage. However, Moonlight Bangle does have some balancing in place. It will take into account accelerated specials as lowering the max cooldown special count, so in reality Brave Eirika with Luna only has a max of 2 cooldown. That is still 40% of the foe's defense stat, and on top of the original Luna proc, that is 90% of the foe's defense stat total. You could even use Aether for an extra 20%. The real kicker is having the anti-guard ability too, or no guard. That is so strong with this effect, especially with no follow. Brave Eirika is ready to do some damage. So besides her unique skills, Eirika will also have attack and speed menace as her C skill. She then brings a new A skill called Surge Sparrow. Technically this does power creep Swift Sparrow 3 because it grants +7 attack and speed when initiating, which is an extra +1 attack. Then, if the unit deals damage with a special, you restore HP equal to X percentage of unit's max HP. X is equal to the unit's max special cooldown count times 20, and then you add +10 afterwards. For Brave Eirika with Luna, that would be 2 times 20 equals 40%, and you add another 10 for a total of 50% max HP heal. We see Eirika heal for 19 HP, which is half of her 39 base HP, so it seems to check out. So obviously Surge Sparrow do be looking kinda crazy. I have a feeling there may be some inheritance restrictions on this skill, but we'll see. Overall, can't say I'm disappointed with Brave Eirika at all. I didn't think I'd be tempted to +10 another 5-star only unit so soon, but I think I can safely say that my wallet is going to be hurting a lot come tomorrow. Next we have the second place winner for the men's side, and it's Brave Marth, the OG protagonist of the series. It was just a matter of time before Marth got his CYL spot. Instead of his usual blue getup, Marth is decked out in red to resemble Henri, the founder of Altea. I'll be honest, at first my mind went to the red color scheme alt costume when you're playing Smash. Now, that's mainly because Brave Marth will be another sword infantry unit. To differentiate himself from the 3 other sword-wielding Marths, Brave Marth has an entire book for his Genesis Falchions description. For the basics, it accelerates specials and is effective against dragons. If Marth initiates or is within 2 spaces of an ally, he also gets a general +5 stat boost and will get 3 possible effects based on the total number of bonuses on 3 of his allies. Essentially, Marth gets more abilities the more field buffs his teammates have, and there is no range to this, they just need to be buffed up. If his allies have more than 10 total buffs, Marth gets no follow-up 3. If they have more than 25 total buffs, Marth gets another plus 5 attack, and he heals for 5 HP on hit. If it's more than 60 total buffs, Marth gets Vanish. Good lord, so this is a pretty wild weapon. 10 total field buffs is pretty easy to achieve, that's just plus 6 to 2 different stats. To hit over 60 total buffs, however, your 3 units need to have an average of 20 field buffs, which is plus 5 to all stats. Kind of a tall order, but Brave Marth can actually supply these buffs himself. Once again, Marth has a unique special, but Shining Emblem is different from its past iterations. It now gives Marth plus 6 to all stats if he starts a turn with an ally within 2 spaces. Extremely easy to achieve, and oh yeah, I forgot to mention that we are indeed now in Gen 6 BST. Now, additionally, Shining Emblem grants plus 6 attack to any allies within 2 spaces at the start of the turn. If you hit 2 allies, that's going to give you a total of plus 12 total field buffs, which at least gives Marth no follow-up. It will take some work to get to plus 25 total field buffs though. Now, the rest of his special is a buffed up version of the Fire Emblem special. Instead of 30% of Marth's speed, it's now 35%, still slightly less than regular Astra. After combat, when Shining Emblem procs, Marth's going to give all his allies plus 6 total stats. Guess what? That's going to get him to over 60 total field buffs on his 3 allies to fully proc Genesis Falchion. Now he has Vantage and a bunch of attack to go with it. Synergizing with this setup, Marth has Distant Pressure. This is Distant Counter, but with a side effect. When you are above 25% HP, you get plus 5 speed, but you also take 5 recoil damage after combat. DC plus Vantage is great, but 5 recoil damage isn't that ideal for any DC users. Genesis Falchion does get a 5 HP heal on hit, but still. Now, the trade-off for the recoil damage is that the plus 5 speed boost, and the fact is that it can be active on the player phase as well. DC is usually an enemy phase only skill, but Distant Pressure gives more options. If you saw, Brave Marth will also have Spurn 3 and even Tempest, so he is fully ready for player phase action as well. Obviously, he is pretty dependent on field buffs, so Panic is really bad, especially since Marth will almost always give himself plus 6 stats. He would definitely pair nicely with Ashira's no panic abilities. To me, Brave Marth feels kind of similar to the Pathfinder sisters, minus Pathfinder obviously. He has tons of stats, he has dodge, he has no follow-up, and distant counter. The plus 6 field buffs for the whole team will probably be pretty annoying as well. Solid sword infantry unit, but just gotta stay calm and not panic. For our first place winner on the women's side, we have Brave Marianne. This one is based on her time skip self, and she's obviously wearing the 3 Houses Dancer regalia. Funny thing is that Brave Marianne is not a dancer in game, but she has dance capabilities as we will discuss. As a unit, Brave Marianne is a colorless mage, and her Phantasm Tome has a very beastly animation to it, very interesting. This weapon will grant a flat plus 3 speed, and if Marianne fights a healthy foe, she inflicts minus 6 speed and res debuffs, and neutralizes her speed and res field buffs. Additionally, if she's initiating, she reduces the damage of the foe's first attack by 70%. So I know we just got Nyx who has damage reduction, but Marianne has a crazy higher 70% damage reduction on top of being colorless. She may not be that easy to take down in one shot. Besides that, Phantasm Tome is actually quite simple. Basically, it's a low speed and res effect. As you can see, we have a third highly offensive unit, but Marianne will split her defensive stats more toward resistance. Her physical bulk is not that great, but with 70% damage reduction, hopefully she can stay alive long enough to proc her special. While Marianne won't be a full-on dancer, her unique special is called Requiem Dance. It's a 3 cooldown special that only activates after combat if Marianne initiates. This is just like Gale Force. When it procs, Marianne will dance the highest HP ally within 2 spaces, and this can work on other dancers. The danced unit can only move 1 space, and this effect can only trigger once per turn. So, Requiem Dance is definitely a bit hard to visualize in terms of how effective it may or may not be. Instead of letting Marianne move again like with Gale Force, she will let another ally move again. The 1 space restriction is a bit limiting, I feel like, but it's clear that the devs are scared of letting another legendary Sigurd happen again. That said, at the moment, I'm not really sure how strong this skill will be. It will require some really good positioning, I feel like, and it also leaves Marianne without a damage dealing special. She has Time's Pulse, so it's going to go on a 2 cooldown to start the player phase, but obviously you can still stop Requiem Dance with things like Guard. Also, if there isn't any nearby allies, then the special is useless, although it's not going to proc, and even if you do, the 1 space gravity restriction makes it tough to act unless the ally is already next to an enemy or something. Now, I can see some very interesting maneuvers with this skill, but it's really hard to see how practical it is without using it yourself. For example, you could move Marianne forward, you could have a Dancer refresh her, Marianne moves one space to make an attack, she procs Requiem Dance to refresh the Dancer then refreshes Marianne again, and from there she can either attack or retreat or reposition the Dancer backwards. I believe there is potential for this skill, but you also need to work for it, unlike Legendary Secret who can just slap on a quick impulse. If you want to keep using Requiem Dance, Marianne's going to need 2 special charges. She at least has no follow-up to push past Wary Fighter skills. She also has Attack and Speed Unity, which is another speed boosting skill, and obviously that's going to synergize with the range of Requiem Dance. In general, Brave Marianne's a pretty fierce mage. She is colorless, she has a bunch of attack and speed, and she has that nasty 70% damage reduction to take a hit while being able to attack again with no follow-up. There's no doubt that she's still a pretty solid offensive unit. The biggest question mark is how effective is Requiem Dance going to be. I feel like it would be neat with things like Wings of Mercy. You could have a Gale Force unit fly in, you could have a Wings of Mercy Dancer follow up, then you have Marianne with Wings of Mercy also follow up. She can then refresh the Dancer thanks to Requiem Dance. I also feel like there's potential with warping skills because gravity doesn't stop those. An Aerobatic's Flyer could reposition Marianne forward, she dances them with Requiem Dance, and then the Flyer can warp to any space next to Marianne. I don't know, maybe this skill will break the game like Holy Knight Aura. To me, at least first impressions wise, I feel like they could have let Requiem Dance give Marianne something else without needing to proc the special. For example, Legendary Sigurd gets that 1 extra movement and Brave Marth's gonna buff himself and allies. We'll see how it turns out though. Last up is the Brave Gatekeeper, who is the winner of the men's division. To put into perspective how much Gatekeeper won CWL5, he has more total votes than Marianne and Eirika combined. He is literally just a normal NPC in 3 houses, but his cheerful demeanor won the player base over, which is insane considering the popularity of all the other students. While he may have won through memes, I do feel like a lot of people thought this would be the only way to get a playable version of the Gatekeeper in Feh, and the devs did him justice. Gatekeeper isn't using his trusty lands or an axe, he is instead a green infantry mage. Does it make sense? No, but Gatekeeper attacks by basically opening the gates and sending the residents of Garreg Mach out to fight with the blow of his horn. If you've played 3 houses, this is basically a gambit attack with the battalions. Similar to Legendary Byleth, Gatekeeper seems to have some fun random animations of who goes out to fight. We actually got to see face sprites of characters not actually in the game yet. We saw regular Sylvain and Lorenz, we have Lady Rhea and Cyril with a bow, then in the Japanese Feh channel they also had Alois as well. While this doesn't confirm anything, perhaps some of these characters will be on the next 3 houses banner. Hopefully this isn't all of the animations available, it would be pretty funny to see all of the 3 houses units show up. Now in terms of actual gameplay, Charging Horn grants a flat +3 defense to the Gatekeeper. He is built like a literal wall with low speed but high defense and res. Charging Horn will then grant +5 attack and speed to allies within 3 rows and columns centered on the Gatekeeper. In addition, Gatekeeper gets bonus effects based on how many allies are in that area. If it's 1 or more, he inflicts attack and res debuffs that scale with the number of allies. If it's 3 or more, the foe cannot make a follow-up attack. Interestingly, if the Gatekeeper is within 2 spaces of a structure that the foe can destroy, then you treat it as if he always has 3 nearby allies. That last part is for sure going to apply in 8th raids. In general, Gatekeeper has full-on tanking abilities, attack debuffs, and follow prevention. Allies will get a hefty attack and speed boost as well, so honestly a pretty nice weapon. For his B skill, Gatekeeper actually has something to report this time. Detailed Report is basically Obstruct on steroids. Melee foes cannot move through adjacent spaces, just like regular Obstruct. As for ranged foes, they cannot move through spaces within 2 spaces of the Gatekeeper. Now, that is new and is a pretty handy ability to prevent a mage from sniping your backline. Gatekeeper is sticking true to his name. What's even better is that he also prevents foes from warping into spaces within 4 spaces of the Gatekeeper. Goodbye Wings of Mercy. If you like using Gale Force teams with dancers, you better take Gatekeeper out first. Now, all of these effects can be negated if the user has pass. It also doesn't work on rival domains camps because that would kind of break the mode. Anyway, maybe we'll get a pass for a skill in the future, otherwise you're going to waste a B slot on that to sneak into Garreg Mach. While Gatekeeper is a mage, he can still fight up close thanks to Close Reversal. We got an alternate distant counter on Marth, but Gatekeeper actually just brings us a straight up better version of Close Counter. Unlike Distant Pressure, there's no HP loss, instead you get a +5 defense boost. The difference is that it's only on the enemy phase. Between Close Reversal and Close Foil, the difference is +5 attack for being able to counter back to dragons. honestly not a bad trade in favor of close foil because a lot of range units don't like to fight dragons because of the adaptive damage. However, close foils or close reversals isn't bad at all. Also appearing finally will be joint drive defense. Joint drives are so flexible, but we just never got the defense version. Gatekeeper is going to be quite bulky, but he does have some weaknesses. Obviously no follow-up or guaranteed follow-up can let an enemy double him, and he doesn't have guard either. With no built-in follow-up, he also lacks kill pressure unless you run quicker posts, and only his weapon is granting bonus damage. He does offer some interesting support capabilities. The improved obstruct effect will definitely be annoying, and he should cause trouble for Gale Force units unless you can take him out first. Regardless of how he plays, they definitely did a good job making him fun. Now, as per usual, everyone gets one free pick of any Choose Your Legends 5 winner. Even if you aren't summoning, you still get to choose, and I should have a poll up on my community tab about which unit you absolutely want the most. Basically, who's your number one pick now that we've gotten a peek at their outfits and kits. For those that are going to spend orbs, you can wait on that free pick decision because, like last year, you can spark on the CYO banner up to 4 times. This would be 160 summons total, and we should have also have Forging Bonds to get some free tickets as well. You can only spark each unit 1 time, so you can't just pick Marth 4 times. If you're like me, last year I only really cared about trying to get Brave Dimitri copies, so I focused on blue orbs and for summoning, and I just got Claude and Lysithea through the 40 summon spark. If you only spark 3 times, you could also just use the free pick on the last remaining winner. I almost forgot to mention, but Pelleas will be the next Grand Hero battle unit. He is a character from Radiant Dawn, but it looks like he got the Sigrun treatment instead of the George treatment. From the sprite, it looks like he may have a new inheritable red tome. Many think it's a lion, which could be a Fury 3 tome since those already exist. Hopefully it's a good inheritable red tome, or Pelleas has some nice stats, otherwise we're just gonna have another Arete. At the very least, he should have the new Gen 6 Infantry Mage BST. As a note, the CYO 3 free pick is being retired at the end of this month. This mainly applies to new players unless you haven't used it for whatever reason. After August, new players are only going to get the free picks from CYO 4 and 5. To end off the Feh channel, we only got one small update, which actually is going to go into effect with the banner update. Dragonflower usage is being bumped up by 5 for each group. For the year 1 infantry who could use 15 Dragonflowers, now you can get plus 20. Plus 4 to all stats is like plus 10 merges, but boy is it costly. To help with the pain, everyone was going to get 120 of each type of Dragonflower if you log in 1 time within August. Can't complain about free stuff, but the ever increasing cost is also probably why they added some Dragonflowers to part of that Feh Pass perks for staying subscribed. Anyway, that's going to be it for now. If you're interested, I will talk about these CYO units more tomorrow. I do want to test some things since the banner is going to be out tonight, and I want to try to talk about some other topics like alternate skills to run, or if there are inheritance restrictions on our new skills. Personally, I was already pretty excited and ready to blow a lot of orbs on this banner, no matter the outcome. However, now with Brave Eirika wielding a lance and actually looking quite good, I'm probably going to spend some extra money for orbs. My plan is basically the same as last year, go for as many Eirikas I can get and spark 1 copy of everyone else. Let me know your first impressions on these units so far and who are you going to try and get. If you are summoning, then I wish you good luck. A lot of orbs are going to be spent tomorrow. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.